Welcome to Fockbuster! We're back, guys! Enjoy!
Or don't.
I have been able to see some recent films lately. First one is Presence. Really enjoyed this. However, due to a legal embargo agreement, I cannot say anything further about the matter. Stay tuned at a later date for that reveal. I also did see Wolfman. I hated this. I was very disappointed in Wolfman, and that's okay. I did like the whole daughter-father bonding. That was adorable, but the acting was terrible. It was not what I wanted it to be. Without getting too mad and angry about it, I really wanted The Invisible Man, the one with Elizabeth Moss a few years ago. Lee Warnell, who did the Saw movies, did this one as well. I really thought we were going to go in the same kind of style as that one. Unfortunately, it did not, and it ended up being very disappointing to me. I give it 3 out of 10, maybe. That's pushing it, maybe 2.5. Nosferatu. Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok was good. It was a very dark movie, to the point where I couldn't see anything on screen and just wanted somebody to turn on a light, because these eyes aren't as young as they used to be, y'all, and I need to at least see some outlines. Is it a good movie? Yes. Am I going to give it an honorable mention as a top film of the year? Absolutely. Does it deserve Oscar nominations? Yeah, and then some. I'm looking at you, Ariana Grande. Lily Rose Depp was fantastic in this film. She deserves love and recognition, and I highly recommend everyone check out Nosferatu. Just know it's a very dark film. Not like theme-wise, it's just dark as hell. The next movie I saw was a rescreening of a 2010, I believe, Perks of Being a Wallflower. I read this book in high school like a lot of people of my age during the time. I just never got around to the movie. It was a sad book, so I never saw the movie. And I finally caught it at Alamo and was reminded I was not ready for this movie. Emma Watson is great in this film. It's a great story. It's a sad story. It's a true story. And it's really cool that the guy who wrote it, he also did the movie. He directed it as well. So that's really cool. Produced it, wrote it for the screen. So I think that's really cool when somebody takes something that they created and took it all the way. So cheers to this movie. If you're in the mood for some sadness, but a good reflection of time back in the 90s and 2000, give it a swirl. Another movie I saw this recently was The Lord of the Rings War of Rohirrim. And I wish I could give you a review about it, but I left about 20 minutes into it because it's just bad. It was Warner Brothers Animation trying to do Studio Ghibli, and it just never worked at all. It looks straight up Netflix animation, which isn't a bad thing. It was a cash cow. This is what Warner Bros. Did to keep the Lord of the Rings rights so they could continue on making movies down the line. And it felt like that. So I left 20 minutes into it. I'm sure it's okay. I just have no interest in seeing it again now. And then lastly, I saw Y2K recently around New Year's time. This movie is fantastic. It was hilarious, great cast, great throwbacks, Easter eggs, and it's got Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit saving the day. And who doesn't want to see Limp Bizkit saving the millennium?
All right, these are my 2024 top 10. Number 10, Speak No Evil. This one really surprised me. Based on the ad, definitely not at all what I expected. It has James McAvoy in it, who we all know from X-Men and the movie Split. Really good thriller. Number 9, Smile 2. Not much needed to say there, but a really great film. Number 8, Maxine. A part of the Ty West trilogy. This is the last installment. I recommend watching all 3, but I really liked Maxine. Number 7, The Fall Guy. I can't believe this was 2024, but this was one of my favorite. Had Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, who I love. Just an overall great, funny, action, romance movie. Had it all. Number 6, Post Theater. Maybe not my favorite. Maybe wouldn't have made a top 10. But because this is my theater view, Kong x Godzilla made the cut. I just thought this movie was so fun to see in the theaters. Number 5, Beetlejuice. So I had managed to never see the original, so we happened to watch the original right before the new one, and that was perfect for me. Just a super fun movie. Recommend seeing it when you can. Number 4, Deadpool and Wolverine. Exactly what you would expect, and then some. This movie was just crazy, wild, all over the place, and a really fun ride. Number 3, Late Night with the Devil. Another really surprising one where basically David, the main actor, runs the show, but it has some really good horror elements. The only thing is I hope there's a second one, maybe. Number 2, Strange Darling. Just another great surprise. Seems like the trend this year is the movie of surprises, or the year of surprise movies that are really good. And number 1, no surprise for anyone that knows me, The Substance. This movie had it all. A great horror movie, also hitting on some bigger themes about appearance and body image and being good enough, loving yourself, but all wrapped in this really wild, crazy package. I've never been in a theater where I looked to my neighbor and we both were like, what the just happened? And I hope it wins all the awards it's nominated for: Best Director, Best Screenplay, and shout out to Demi Moore for Best Actress and Best Film. And I'll put money on it. I called it right last year. I'm gonna give Best Film to The Substance of 2025. And these are my honorable mentions. Number 1, Terrifier 3. Really just shouting out Victoria here. Number 2, Venom: The Last Dance. Didn't expect much, but it was really fun and a great last installment. Number 3, Alien Romulus, my birthday movie, and just a great alien movie. And number 4, a really big surprise to me was Oddity. If you happen to get a chance to catch that, I recommend watching it as well. Enjoy!
2024 saw some great releases on physical media. I spent way too much money, and that's okay because I'm happy for spending that money on movies. That's what makes me happy. So I'm going to share with you some of my favorite releases from last year. The first one being one of my favorite movies of all time, Can't Hardly Wait. This amazing casted film that showed our generation how we partied back in the day. It came with some great new deleted scenes that hadn't been released before in prior releases, and it looks great. The next one I got is closer to the home. Chronicles of Riddick was one of John's favorite movies, and it just looks fantastic on 4K. When I popped this in to watch the director's cut, man, Arrow knows how to make film packaging, and they also know how to do new transfers for even blockbuster hits from the 2000s. Highly recommend Chronicles of Riddick for the pickup. And then another one that we had, which is an all-time classic that everybody likes of my age, Demolition Man. Such a great movie, such a fun movie. Must own, must see, must own. Watch it at least once a year. And then another gift, this movie, it's all about family. And here I have the Fast and Furious 1 through 8, and it's really exciting because it's going to have like the 20-year anniversary of Fast and Furious. Can you believe that? 20 years of family. Highly recommend picking up the box sets of these because they're just fun popcorn movies. A couple new releases I got this year. I was very proud to find this and get this. Is Hellraiser 1 through 4 in 4K. I have not watched 4 yet, but 1 through 3 look fantastic. And these movies are messy. These movies are maddening. If you haven't seen Pinhead in a while, he gives a lot of people a run for their money. Highly recommend you get these as well. And of course, it has to be an Arrow release, right? This one was kind of out of nowhere this past fall. Hush, Neil Flanagan's movie. He did like the House on Hill House. He's done other horror films as well. Gerard's Game, I know he did. But this one, it got messy with the rights deal. Hasn't been on any streaming service or physical media for the past few years. It's just an all-round great story. A woman is deaf, and so there's a killer hunting her, and she has to use her senses to beat him at the game. It's a pretty quiet film, but it's a great film. Highly recommend. And then one of my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movies finally came out as well, Sudden Death. Jean-Claude Van Damme's a security guy, Gets taken over by terrorists during a Game 7 of the NHL Finals, and he's got to save his daughter, of course. It's just so campy. I love these type of movies. Highly recommend Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Trick or Treat is a Halloween favorite in our household. It is on rotation every single Halloween, and they just released a new transfer of this from Arrow, of course, and it's fantastic. I have to always watch it once a Halloween, always in my rotation. It's probably Alyssa's favorite Halloween movie as well. Enjoy. James Cameron came out with some new media. I picked up these 3 this year. You may see I'm missing like Aliens and such like that, and that's okay. True Lies, this quality isn't great. It's the first time we're getting a high definition transfer of it. So stop whining. Enjoy it. And then the other 2, Titanic, just absolutely fantastic in 4K. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. I love it. Some may hate it. It's one of my favorites, as you know. Highly recommend Titanic and The Abyss. Classic. Ed Harris movie. Great film. Great film. And then finally, the Criterion selections. I picked up a few Criterions this year. I love Criterion collections. Got a great stash of them at home. But this year I got a few 4Ks I'm really excited about. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Johnny Depp's version of Hunter S. Thompson, as they go into a whole maddening experience in Las Vegas doing drugs and seeing reptiles and picking up Tobey Maguire, who's hitchhiking. Really great movie, really crazy movie. Highly recommend Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But that's not my favorite one of Hunter S. Thompson. Where the Buffalo Roam with Bill Murray is my personal favorite. That is one you should try and hunt down and seek out. Lone Star. This is one of Matthew McConaughey's first movies. Chris Cooper, Western mystery movie. The sheriff, played by Matthew McConaughey at the time, is killed. And then years later, his now adult son, played by Chris Cooper, has to solve the mystery when they find his father's body in the middle of the desert finally. Good, interesting film, highly recommend. And then, of course, the classic, Thelma and Louise. Gina Davis, 90s right there. And Susan Sarandon, just an overall classic Ridley Scott film. Highly recommend Thelma and Louise. They're also going to be in town for GalaxyCon this summer. You know I'm going to see those beautiful women. Cheers, y'all. Enjoy.
It's time for my top 10. So number 10, I've got Inside Out 2. Riley and her emotions really stuck home for me, so I had to put that up. And surprisingly, this is my only animation in my top 10. Usually I have about 2 or 3 out of the year. This is the only one that hit in the top 10 for me. Next, I've got The Fall Guy. Great movie, great honorable mentions to all the stunt guys and all the hard work that they do. Number 8, I've got Deadpool and Wolverine. He is Marvel Jesus. I mean, what else can we say? Number 7, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I personally thought this one was better than the last one released. Very close, if not a perfect movie in my opinion. Number 6 is Beetlejuice. In my opinion, I thought this was the perfect continuation of the story. Number 5 wasn't as good in my opinion as the second one, but Terrifier 3, still a great movie. Number 4, the biggest surprise of the year in my opinion was Strange Darling. Went into this movie completely blind and walked out with my jaw dragging the floor. That's how good it was. Number 3, Late Night with the Devil. Number 3, 2, and 1 get really close. They are only separated literally by a eyelash length of an hair. Number 2, I've got Smile 2. I loved this movie. And number 1, we've got The Substance. The Substance, all about body imaging. Perfect movie. And some honorable mentions that were very close to being in my top 10. Loved them, but didn't make it are Twisters, A Quiet Place, Day One, The Bike Riders, Furiosa, A Mad Max Saga, Abigail, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Honestly, if Godzilla vs. Kong would have been renamed Kong vs. Godzilla, it would have made the top 10, but it was titled incorrectly. And I'm gonna die on that hill.
2025 is going to have some good movies this year that I'm really hyped about. On the list that I've created, I've got 10 movies. None of them are probably going to hit my top 10 a year, and that's what makes them great. So first up, I've got James Gunn's Superman. The trailer hyped me up more than I really honestly wanted to, and I think for a lot of you out there. Another one would be 28 Years Later. Everyone's excited to see the new sequel to that. And Happy Gilmore 2. Yeah, it's sadly not going to be in theaters, but I know we're all going to be watching it when it comes out. It's happy. Tron Ares. Apparently Jared Leto is in this new Tron sequel, which I am not a fan of, but it's Tron, and I'm hyped about that. Next up, Freakier Friday. Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis back together again. I'm excited. How can you not be excited about that one? Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm really excited to see what the next installment of this franchise will be, as well as others like Mortal Kombat 2, Mission Impossible 8, Dead Reckoning, which is the last one. I'm excited about that. And finally, I've got I Know What You Did Last Summer and Predator Badlands. They did a great job a few years ago with Prey on Hulu. Such a success, they're doing another one. Excited to see if it's a Western vibe with the Badlands or if it's going to be in a feudal Japan storyline. That's my list for 2025 movie anticipations. It's that time, top 10 list brought to you by me, Alex Focker-Farquharson. So here we go, starting at number 10. Number 10, Gladiator 2. I enjoyed it. Nobody expected it to be as amazing as the first film, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Number 9, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like the previous one, I was excited that this one finally took the Ghostbuster films forward. The last movie, Afterlife, kind of got it settled and, brought in the new kids. This one started launching it forward, so I'm excited to see what the series, the animations, anything else Ghostbusters related, it's going to be straight in my heart. I'm here for it, so that's why I have it at number 9. Number 8, Alien Romulus. This one surprised me. I went in thinking it was going to be mediocre, and it ended up being probably my third favorite Alien film. Especially since we hadn't had a good Alien film since 97's Resurrection. It was great to see. Just Ridley Scott, leave the black goo alone. Nobody wants the black goo. Nobody cares about the Prometheus goo. Just stop with that. Number 7, Twilight of the Warriors. Walled In. This was a film brought to you from China, and it is a great action film. It's a story of an immigrant who comes in, he gets messed up with the drug gangs and the war going on there, and he runs into this city that's encased within the city. He finds out who he is, lots of action set pieces. It's the overall surprising great movie, and that's why it made my list. Number 6, Last Stop in Yuma County. If you like a 90-minute Quentin Tarantino, Coen Brothers kind of style film that involves a bunch of stolen money, people hiding out in a diner, and at the end, everyone pretty much dies, this is a great film. I love the acting in it. The story, how it was written, is fantastic, and it's only like a 90-minute film. I highly recommend this one. Enjoy that one. Last Stop in Yuma County. Number 5. This one hurts me to put at number 5, but after you see this one compared to Terrifier 2, you will understand why I had to put Terrifier 3 at number 5. Is it a great movie? Yes. Is art fantastic? Yes. Is Art as Santa Claus just the most cutest, adorable thing in the world and then he kills Santa? Yes. But unfortunately, it wasn't as epic as Terrifier 2, and that's okay. I'm looking forward to see how we maybe close it up with Terrifier 4 in 2026. Of course, you have to watch Terrifier 3. It's just, it didn't hold as high as Terrifier 2, and that's okay. Everything else is great in it. Lauren Lavero, we love you. Damian Leon, you're amazing. David Howard Thornton, you're great. It wasn't T2, and that's okay. So that's why it's at number 5, Terrifier 3. Number 4, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Guy Ritchie's film this year. Last year he did Operation Fortune, which I was a big fan of. This year it was this one. Such a funny movie, and who doesn't like killing Nazis? At number 3, I have Furiosa. Furiosa was a fantastic installment in the new Mad Max world. Great cast. Is it Mad Max Fury Road? No, and that's okay. That came out 10 years ago. This was a great prequel that was done, and I highly recommend everyone check it out. Number 2, The Substance. This was really tight and really tough decision for me. The Substance I put at number 2 because it is an absolute perfect movie. It really is. From the director to the cast, to the story, to the message, to the themes. Demi Moore is absolutely fantastic in this movie. It is an absolute shame that Margaret Qualley was not nominated for this film over others. And I highly recommend everyone check this movie out. It is not the movie you think it's going to be. It is a body horror film. 10 out of 10 for me. And some honorable mentions this year before my number one. The Bike Riders, Nosferatu, Bad Boys 4, Heretic. Also really enjoyed Saturday Night and Y2K. And my number one movie of 2024, Late Night with the Devil. This movie came out earlier this year and it stuck with me. I watched this film in packed theaters. I have watched this film midnight at home all by myself. I have even watched this film 30,000 feet in the air on an airplane. This movie is great. It takes place during an entire late 70s late night TV show. It's got behind the scenes stuff afterwards, and the ending is so wild. I get why some people didn't love it, but I loved it. The more I watched it, the more I watched the whole trip at the end, the more I understood the trip, if that makes sense. Go check out Late Night with the Devil. Don't know exactly where it's streaming right now, but that's why you should buy it and actually spend money on physical media so you can have a movie anytime you want. That is my message for 2025, y'all. Buy more physical media. Enjoy. And lastly, Arya, would you like to share with us some of your favorite movies of this past year?
So, some of my favorite movies of 2024 were, I liked Beetlejuice, and it was kind of funny at times. Twisters, I loved it. I think it's better than the first one. It's a lot, but I loved it a lot. And I also watched it on a plane 30,000 feet up in the air.